Welcome to Spook Asylum, where the lights flicker, the halls never end, and the bell always rings when no one's around to hear it. I am the pale narrator, and tonight we're heading back to school. For some, a new year means new friends, fresh pencils, and lockers that don't quite close. But for others, the classroom becomes a trap, the hallway a hunting ground, and the first day of term, the start of a nightmare. Some say the stories you'll hear are fake. Some swear they're true. That's for you to decide. Just remember, every lesson leaves its mark. Story number 1. The bus ride. For most students, the bus ride home is routine. Noisy, crowded, filled with laughter, shouts, and the slam of backpacks against seats. But that first week of school, his bus ride was different. It started like any other afternoon. He climbed onto the late bus, the one that ran for kids who had after-school activities. At first, the seats were full, the aisles buzzing with voices. But stop by stop, the bus grew emptier. By the time they'd passed his neighborhood, he realized something chilling. He was the only passenger left. The driver didn't say a word, didn't even glance back, just kept steering down unfamiliar streets. Past the point where the boy's stop should have been, he tried to call out, "Excuse me, sir. I think you've passed my stop." But the driver didn't react. The bus rolled further and further into the countryside, where the streetlights gave way to nothing but shadows and trees. He stood up, gripping the cold metal of the seatbacks as the bus jolted along. He reached the front, close enough to see the driver's reflection in the wide mirror above. And then, that's when his blood turned to ice. The driver's eyes weren't on the road. They were on him. Unblinking, smiling. The boy stumbled back down the aisle, panic setting in. The bus slowed to a crawl, tires crunching against gravel. Then, with a loud hiss, the doors creaked open. But outside, there was no stop, just darkness and the woods. The driver finally spoke, his voice a dry rasp that cut through the silence.
"End of the line."
The boy never came home that night, and to this day, some students say that if you stay too late at school and you get on the wrong bus, you'll ride all the way to the end of the line too. Story number 2. The Stalker Classmate. For her, starting a new school was supposed to be exciting. New friends, new classes, a clean slate. But almost immediately, she noticed him. At first, it was small things. He always seemed to sit a row behind her, in English, in history, even in the cafeteria. She told herself it was just coincidence, just bad luck with assigned seats. But then came the stares. Not quick glances, not curious looks. He would lock eyes with her and not look away. One day after gym class, she opened her notebook and froze. Inside, on the page where she'd left her notes, was her name, written over and over again, and beneath it,
I know what you did.
She felt her stomach twist. What was she supposed to have done? It didn't make sense. From then on, the stares only got worse. He would trail behind her in the hallways, always just a few steps too close. At her locker, she'd find scraps of paper folded and slipped through the vents. At first, they were blank. Then they began to carry messages.
You can't hide. I see you.
She told her friends. They laughed it off, said it was probably just a creep with a crush. But that didn't explain how he seemed to know her schedule, or why he'd be waiting outside the girls' bathroom. One afternoon, she decided to test it. Instead of going to her next class, she ducked into the library, weaving through the stacks. She hid behind the tall shelves, heart racing. For a moment, she thought she'd shaken him. Then, footsteps, slow, deliberate. She peeked through the books and saw him, standing at the end of the aisle, staring at her through the gaps. The next morning, she opened her math book to find a final message scrawled inside.
You're next.
She showed the teacher, the principal, even the guidance counselor, but with no proof and no witnesses, nothing could be done. He denied it all. And the following day, his desk was empty. No one knew why he'd left. Some said he transferred, others whispered about something worse. She never saw him again, but even now, years later, when she opens a blank notebook, she swears she can hear the sound of a pencil scratching her name into the page. Story number 3. The Haunted Principal's Chair. Every school has its legends, and this one, the whispers always came back to a single thing: the chair. They said decades ago a principal had collapsed during the first assembly of the year. A stroke, a heart attack, no one really knew. But the chair he died in, they never threw it away. They locked it in the gym storage room. For years, kids dared each other to sneak inside and sit on it. They said if you stayed too long, you'd hear the sound of keys jangling, teacher's keys, even though no one was there. One night, a freshman decided to prove it was fake. He slipped into the dark gymnasium, his phone light bobbing across the dusty floor. He found the storage room, pushed open the door, and there it was. The chair, still waiting. He sat down. The wood groaned under his weight. At first, nothing, just silence. And then he froze. Footsteps echoed across the gym floor. And then his name whispered slowly. David. He bolted, running so fast he didn't even stop to close the storage door. The next day, when he told his friends, they laughed. But when they snuck back to look for the chair, the room was empty. No chair, no keys, nothing. Some say if you stay late enough in that gym, you'll hear the creak of wood behind you, waiting for you to sit down. So, how was your first day? For some, school means homework and grades. For others, it means survival. If you've enjoyed tonight's lesson, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Because here in Spook Asylum, the stories never really end.